we would defeat the MPP in a way that they would suffer to recover from. And if we come into government as an NDC party and we failed the people of Ghana, they will do the same thing to us and kick us out of administration. Ghanaians are discerning now. When we come to power and we want to maintain power, we need to deliver on the promises that we give to the people. We need to let the people hold us accountable to what we have said we can do, not to just come and take them for a ride and think, say, after another 4 years, we'll come and tell them like the Jagular vice president is doing, that vote for me because I was not a driver, I was a mate. We passed that stage. Because Oshe Bibia Ghana Ekoya, Utanasi now say because at the end of the day, what affects one affects all of us. Sebio yeko tuaba yekaye say nyaho tamaklomo President Kufomu kas omu tuyemfo. But that is bereft of the point. Say nesi 7 years and a half we've seen the mess I find here in as a country. But there's hope.
There is hope. Talking about hope, you've been breaking it down. Voters registration.
Yeah.
But if you follow the voters registration.
Of course, every politician once
without the registration,
you get the vote, yes. So
intake on that,
well, I think the process has been not that smooth, but it's a process that Mekase electorate directorate of Dr. Maneboama and an able assistant Yayira Kokumone, the others Ma Jibril. These people have shown say they really understand the responsibility part in the to almost. Mehuns Okay said there was a figure via EC churn out recently, and then it was Dr. Manibuama who said this is basic calculation, and there were mistakes here and there. The Electoral Commission admitted say they had made mistakes, and maybe some say plus and minus. The commission is still able to make mistakes. A cause for vigilance. And when I say vigilance, we'll say Ghana, we've gone to the polls since 1992, and the only time electoral violence it had been unprecedented last 4 years elections here. And I think it's not worth it for any politician say obi kwako tuaba wakako ashrenenkwa and I say he has an accident and blood drops and all of that. It's not necessary. And I think with what is going on, I'm so happy that our regional executives, constituency executive, branch executive, everybody has played a role to ensure we have a credible register. Because if you're going to a poll, now parties accepted the outcome of the polls now, you need a credible register. Yeah. And I'm sure the party through press conference General Secretary Honorable Fifi Kwete, press conference National Chairman Johnson Asiedun Ketia, they've called on the EC to play a fair game. Okay. And we are holding them accountable to that. So far we've aligned ourselves with the mistakes that they have made, and they have agreed and corrected those mistakes. Me assure they can do better, and we ensure the right thing is done. No minus in the register, no double registration. Everything should be according to the books so that it will go to give us a very credible, free and fair elections.
Thank you so much. His Excellency, Doctor, young man, Doctor. You're a Benjamin Kofi or no any education common. The opportunity when this young man you couldn't give her, no among South Africa so they would do more opportunity. There are so many areas I wanted to touch with, but Alawa NDC by I'll be reading out an article here by Yura Mahama Echum India Uchemu and the MPP so Kasenia Bania restore recently Yura Baumia. They could see a nurse for MOD2 who said, oh, you restore your chia nurse for Kenya there. And there was a student who came and said to his face for about 4 to 5 years Nalawa Zanka. Then he replied saying, any minister Bekasa, you see him personally, say, Sir Alawano Ombichia. You miss identity and NDC shame. Was there any special reason?
Well, I think, when you run an economy and when you believe, say, you want everything to be in tandem. President Mahama, in his wisdom, decided, say, the allowances that were given to nurses, they should fall under the student loan scheme. The student loan scheme, as you and I know, have been in existence for God knows how long. I'm sure that after the dispensation of the 1992 Constitution, we have always paid students from teacher training allowances, from student loans, all through the student loan scheme. In his wisdom, he felt, say, instead of making the nurses allowance stand on its own, they should go under the student loan scheme, which we know says SNIT and others were the ones responsible for paying these things out. This government came under the promises, say they will give them alawa, which will be higher than the student loan scheme. Because remember, the student loan scheme, it breeded that atmosphere of us all making sure that we work to pay back. Because once you have the loan and you start working, you know that you pay back for the next person to also be able to get the same loan. In his wisdom, in his own wisdom, that is why he stated that. They came with mouth-watering promises, say, oh, they'll give student alawa, they'll give this, they'll give that. But President Mahama told them that, you see, when you overburden the national purse in trying to win votes, afterwards, the system itself will expose you. And this is where we have found ourselves. Into what recently, President Mahama said, the nurses will go under the student loan scheme, which will be regular, which will be, it's funny, say, His Excellency the Vice President said he's going to consult his minister. It's the Vice President telling me that he's not the head of the economic management team. The Finance Minister is part of the economic management team. So he should not have even said what he said to the young girl, say he's going to consult and find out from the Finance Minister.
And make sure,
make sure, say, you see, these are we've known this about the MPP, and Ghanaians are wide descending. If you go on social media, you can see how Crawford descending on that student. But that student asks a very, very, very brilliant question, a question that exposed the two-faced nature of the Vice President, the two-faced nature of the MPP administration. But for us all as Ghanaians, we should see, say, these are not people we can trust. Because the beer will be beside Laji Bawumias CIA. Who can't tax or say about trim. Who can't wear or say about trim. Why can't he do it now? Because he's a vice president, he's the head of the economic management team. It's an admission of failure. And once they failed, we say they should step aside and let the right people lead the country.
NDC, Abidjiri.
Yeah.
Professor Nana Jeluku Kwachima. Our first one. Why the second time? And also, this time, I'm now addressing nation and I say NDC party. Only the demon and the confidence before and now. I say I left the part. Are you sure she can help NDC?
No, Prof is an unblemished academician, and Prof it's a go-getter. That is how I describe her. The first female vice chancellor of ever in our country, and a minister of education. You could see the sort of policies she implemented when she was the minister of education. At that point, we were seeing the performance of the Ghanaian students in the WASI exams, in the junior secondary school. Everything was a spectacle to behold. Now, Prof comes on board with a touch of honesty, credibility, and accountability. I say these things because the current office of the vice president, has been reduced to one of mockery. Sebi, your vice president, will share clips of how he goes to programs, how he talks, sometimes, excuse my language, loosely. You will not expect this from somebody who occupies the highest office as that of the vice president. Prof, at that inaugural speech, I was there, and I can tell you, sir, she was a different woman, a woman who was on top of the issues with energy, with passion, and driven to the point, sir, onim what she wants to do.
And now, before and now, as they say, power.
Of course. So you see, it gets better with time.
Okay.
And I think, sir, she has been in the public sector for quite a long time. And when she was picked initially as the vice president, that was the first time that a female had been picked. And I'm sure it came with its own challenges here and there. Fortunately for us, she has been maintained again. So it gets better. And I have seen how she has related with our flag bearer, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And now the two of them will understand themselves better than they understood themselves when President Mahama was a president and she was the Minister of Education. Now, like she said, she's going to help the president achieve everything that he had promised to achieve. She's one woman that, from the time I outdoor, no, I nominating, our friends from the MPP had tried to find some dirt on her. They've done everything. They couldn't find anything. They can't get anything on her. That is how credible she is. That is how unblemished she is. She'll bring a lot of electoral fortunes to the NDC in the next elections. Why do I say this? The people of Cape Coast are proud to have an indigene of theirs rising to this highest office, and now they've seen the difference. You see, we've seen what Alhaji Bawumia, Alhaji Bawumia was said to be the vice president that was going to change Ghana for the better. But he is the vice president that has moved Ghana to the current dungeons that it finds itself in. And I'm sure, Nana, we should be proud that the NDC and President Mahama have made such an incredible choice, a choice that will increase participation of women in governance, a choice that will go a long way to make my daughters know that it is possible. They can do it.
Okay. Yes, campaign to Yira Mahama eto NMC Yira Bawumia eto. Over a couple of weeks ago, Oko Mahama Group, and the amount of work can say he's been adored by Mahama chief. He can say Oba signed the Aba if it was Oba one sign for MBPM. His take on Galamsey. And I'm some kakra. Over the weekend, Joy News reported this about Yira Mahama on Galamsey, and I wanted to read it to our loyal listeners out there. Now, and some Yira John Dramani Mahama kind, The Okan said the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress (NDC), John Dramani Mahama, has made it clear that if elected president in the upcoming December polls, he will not hesitate to compel any of his appointees involved in mining activities to resign from their positions. In the other work, can say yedi 2 minutes kutano naso ba ebetina kunwane so a ne manfo no be boba amanga no biara wode ho ba ko for Galamsey and say money dey say what the government appointment no ebeto ho. In his address at the 3rd Annual Transformational Dialogue on Small-Scale Mining at the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani, Mr. Mahama emphasized that his appointees will be expected to focus solely on their core mandate of national development rather than engaging in mining ventures. Mr. Mahama categorically stated that none of his appointees will be allowed to partake in illegal mining activity.
You and I have seen the effect of Galamsey on the lives of our people, the effect of Galamsey on the economy. Our water bodies have become so deplorable. Our vegetations. I was part of President Mahama's tour the last time before the party's election of the flag bearer. And when we pass through Kumasi, at the point when you see how Galamsey has damaged our environment, you ask yourself, where did we go wrong as a country? What is President Mahama saying? What he's saying is that you cannot enrich yourself at the expense of the citizenry. You cannot enrich yourself at the expense of the communities that are supposed to have livelihoods and hold our people. What he's saying is there's mining that is going on. We know that there are mining sectors in Ghana. if they cannot be regularized to fall under the mining agreements that we sign as a country, all the mining laws are binding as a people, why would you go into Galamsey? Why would you go into this small scale illegal mining just to enrich yourself? We know, sir, there are top people in the ruling government who are into mining. Because of that, they don't care about the environment. They only care party Hieska. That's what we hear. Obeka Kano, Omeka just a party Hieska. President Mahama is saying, sir, if you are a government official and he finds that you are doing Galamsey, he will boot you out. Why bida? He is somebody who has not covered up for ministers during his administration when they did things wrong. Vicky Haman, Okaya, and then other appointees, issues happen. She will say, he will tell you, proceed on leave the position. If you want to enrich yourself, you go to the private sector. The difference between President Mahama and Nana Addo, because remember, Nana Addo also said the same thing, say, when I come into government, any of my appointees who want to be rich should go into the private sector. What do we see today? People in government, 60% stake of SNIT that government has, government is selling it to Brian Champon. Brian Champon is a minister of state. Why do you do this? So there's a difference between a talkative and somebody who gets things done. And getting things done, it's what President Mahama is known for. What he has stated about Galamsey, he also said that he was going to use technology to fight this canker. And that is it. The world has grown so much that if you want to really achieve certain things, technology is the way to go. And him being a communication expert and somebody who has believed so much in the use of technology to alleviate the plight of our people, I'm sure he would implement it. But trust me, when President Mahama says, if you want to enrich yourself or if you want to go into mining, you have to go into the private sector, he wouldn't mince words about it. And no minister of his will be able to double in Galamsey like we find it this time. Our president's attentions have been drawn. You've read copious statement by Imani Ghana about the involvement of one particular chairman of the ruling MPP government in Galamsey. What has the president done? They've covered those people. Once you get money and you help the government of Nana Addo, you are good to go. But if you don't help them, you are not good to go. That is not going to be what the NDC under John Mahama will practice.
Exactly, that is not what the NDC under John Dramani Mahama would do. So streaming live on our Facebook page, and then you can also join us. In no time, I'll be activating our phone lines, and then you can also be part of this program. If you are calling us outside South Africa, a plus so say South Africa now say what the text message, voice note, and as our friends so 068-010-6307. The numbers again 068-010-6307. Outside South Africa, you can add the code. It is +27 68 010-6307. Yen Yira Ben Quashie and ATM Common. Yen here 24-hour economy. The last time you were here, we spoke lengthy about it. So far, with your campaign to on Ndc-Sa, how are Ghanaians receiving 24-hour economy?
Well, the 24-hour economy is, like I said, and I keep on saying every day, it's a game changer. You cannot continue doing things the same way, expecting different results. So running a 24-hour economy will create jobs for our people, will open up our economy for foreign investment, will open up our economy for entrepreneurship development, will open up our economy for everybody to have something to do. We wouldn't have backlogs of graduates who will be home without having nothing to do. And I believe that the message has gotten far, and Ghanaians have come to appreciate it, that once our blueprint for implementation is rolled out by the next NDC administration, I am sure everybody will know this 24-hour economy has come to stay. It's a game changer. I've said it, say, put politics aside. Even have people in the MPP, they know that this policy is one that we all have to embrace as Ghanaians, because if we want to have different results, we have to do things differently. Over the years, Yehun said the 9 to 5 Ghana 4 year has not endured to the benefit of the citizenry. Every other place in the world, the US, the UK, Menewo, South Africa, you know that South Africa in a way is practicing a 24-hour economy, because there are pharmacies that run 24 hours. Yeah. There are hospitals that run 24 hours. Yeah. There are certain government ventures, the banks, when you go to the airport, they run 24 hours. So it is something that we need to implement, because it makes life easy for the citizenry whilst bringing in income for the country to run at it. So Ghana for ate message na say omajiatum, and all they are waiting for now is for the president to come up with the policy statement, or what we call the blueprint, as to the implementation of the 24-hour economy when he wins power 2024.
When he wins power 2024, okay.
Why won't he get those people out? My question is, when you go on the field, Nana, maybe you've not been to a galamsey site. The excavators, the machines that are used to do this illegal mining, those people that you are arrested and putting them in custody, they cannot even afford to buy a tie. They cannot even afford to buy the tie of one of those machines, but they are in custody. Those who have procured those machines and have gone to put them on the site for people to do illegal mining, they are roaming about free. Nana, we've seen excavators that have been seized by a ministerial task force having wings and flying away. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has been prosecuted. But you go and see, say, oh, Minwebia owo Kumasi Brono bi o Kumasi omoye galamsey ni obedi mpo no onibi nti ye the machine abeto ho na say monko na monko operate no munya, let's say 10,000 Ghana cedi na ya ma no 100 cedi na nia machine ni nyama ne ye ne de no we nya ne 9,900 na assemble. You run quickly to go and arrest. I'm saying this because it's true. Omafum, they've gone wrong against the law, but you can equally forgive them, because if they didn't bring the machines to the site to come and do the illegal mining, they wouldn't have gone into it. So President Mahama is right. He's spot on in saying, people who have engaged in that, he said, word or use it and say, we'll give them amnesty, because at the end of the day, they've done something wrong, you've corrected them, and you hope that they will not do it again. But I will tell President Mahama, if I have the opportunity to see him, and tell him, say, let's now focus on the people who are the real kingpins when it comes to galamsey. If you want to uproot the problem of galamsey, you think our chiefs don't know the people who are doing galamsey?
Are they involved?
There was a point that Otumfuo Osei was speaking to his council, and he told them that the chiefs seated there, most of them are involved in galamsey. It's not me saying it. It's not President Mahama saying it. It's not the NDC saying it. A chief, a revered chief like Otumfuo, said to his chiefs or more presidents, the galamsey, we know chiefs that are fully into galamsey, but obedient to Minka, because everybody feels, the people behind are so strong that you cannot do anything to it. But it is not helping. So President Mahama's call is a call that we would applaud in the NDC, that give these people amnesty and let these people help us know who buys those machines for the galamsey to be done, and then we go pick up those people. Those are the people that should be held accountable. And I'm sure, excavators, but say 5, 6, 7, and you've seen the sort of money he's made, you can prosecute that person because he got the money by deploring the environment that we find ourselves in. Those are the people we should go after, not the small boys and girls who are just trying to survive on meager income from people who are able to make millions out of this galamsey fight.
You're a question here that's very good. Some of your messages on Facebook, but before then, you can also send through your WhatsApp voice note or even WhatsApp messages on 068 0106 307. The number again is 068 0106 307. Now, if you're testing us or trying to call us outside South Africa, it is +27 68 0106 307 +27 6801063007. Some of your messages on Facebook say this one coming from Mohammed Bukari. His Excellency Benjamin Kofi Quashie, we're proud of you as always. This one coming from Nihat Abdullah. Power on our able and capable leader. This one says from Lucy Bobison, our Odogu HE, keep flagging NDC for 2024. And this one coming from okay, a lot of messages coming through. Let me scroll up again. Okay, so this one coming from Sam Lexus Kakabito. Let's keep the fire burning. Let's voice out and vote out the impact government of Nana Addo. And this one from Quashie Ampon, very insightful. Quashie Ampon again says, Akonoba, admire the way you give him time to make his point. Keep it up. Ghasa all the way. Rita Dati says, we are so proud of HE. Keep the fire burning. And this one says, the sound is very low. Okay, so we fixed that already. Lambert, God's brain says, more grace, fantastic time. And then okay, Moro also says something, great wisdom poured out. Okay, this one, a lot of messages coming through. Okay, Foxy Manasseh all the way from Ghana, he says fire. Hey, NDC for not just say another.
So this election, I say the rescuing of Ghana, the survival for Ghana. Now the NDC, like President Mahama has said.
But sorry to catch you. Does it look like it's a done deal for NDC?
We will not be complacent.
Okay.
We will never be complacent. We will not say that it's a done deal. What we know is that much work needs to be done.
Okay. The vigilante.
Okay. Elections, like President Mahama has said, the NDC would never, under his leadership, go to the Supreme Court anymore. Because if you go into an election and you think that when there are challenges, you go back to the Supreme Court for them to resolve it. We have seen a Supreme Court in Ghana, Sebita Flache. When you listen to some of their rulings, you know, say there's no need you take your case to a Supreme Court or any court per se. So what happens then? President Mahama has said
that's really serious because judiciary in the year, if we can't trust them, and then where are we as Ghana?
That's where we find ourselves. It's a sad situation that Ghana finds itself, but that is the reality. A Chief Justice that decides how to empanel people, a Chief Justice that picks and chooses cases that she wants to be heard, a Chief Justice that thinks that the courts are her personal belongings so he can do whatever he wants to do with the court. Is that the court that you want us to trust? For me, I've said, one of the early things that President Mahama should do is to ensure that he cleans up the judiciary, because with the current crop of judiciary, look, Nana, there were times that you could sit and listen to rulings from the Supreme Court. I have done a lot of reading about some of the judgments from the Supreme Court. There are always dissenting views. When there are dissenting views, you, the judge that have dissented from what the other panel members or the majority panel members have agreed on, you give a reason. But go back and check, from Justice Enim Yeboah's time through to Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono. Ask yourself, one dissenting viewer, judgment be the unanimous decision has said that, and then the dissenting view judges have said that. It's always them going by whatever the majority says. And I think that is a dent on the judiciary that we know. The NDC has also said that it is our responsibility to ensure that we protect the ballot of every individual who cast their votes and for the NDC. President Mahama has said, with his life, he would ensure, our votes are counted and are validated. We'll win the elections at the polling stations. We would ensure we'll have our pink sheets, we'll have everything. We would have our collation centers that we would declare to ourselves. After President Mahama has said, after 72 hours or 48 hours, we should be able to know how the party has felt and how the party, and we are doing a lot. The president and the NDC as a whole is putting in a lot to ensure that not vigilante per se, we will ballot every ballot that is casted will be policed very well. Who will police it? We'll ensure that whoever is there does the right thing. When you vote and you go home, we'll ensure that when the counting starts, we are all there. We'll ensure that before the voting, there's nothing in the ballot boxes. It is shown to everybody. We would ensure that, just like we did in the election of the speaker, current speaker of parliament, they try to run away with ballots, they try to do whatever they want to do. Yes. A friend is saying, Ahinkra, Honorable Carl Ahinkra. Yes. So we have done it before, and we know. We did it in a synod, and we are saying, say, this time our eyes are wide open. We would ensure, say, we police the ballots and ensure, say, the will of the people is not truncated.
Okay, so say that the previous elections now. So
far as you lose an election, you go back to the drawing board and ask yourself, what did I do right? What didn't I do right? And that is what the NDC has done. And I am sure, say, if you are privy to the report by the Quashie committee, you've seen that there are certain things that we needed to have done. We didn't do it right. Now we have realized that we need to do things differently. We are not saying that in the previous election, we didn't do that. We did that. Maybe we didn't do it much more vigorously as we were supposed to do. This time around, we are going to ensure that whatever we do, we give it our best and ensure that the will of the people rules at the end of the day.
Okay. A couple of messages coming through. Say, Yaya Kenny Nase Ankuya. What is next? I'm not getting answers. I'm taking answers now. Let me read a couple of messages that came through. Okay, so this one coming from Lucy. Obviously, again, the truth. They say it's a painful pill to swallow, but Ghanaians.
I have always said my simple answer to this question is that the NDC will form the next government. The NDC will win the next election. Ghanaians will give President Mahama the opportunity to rescue our country from the mess that it finds itself. Ghanaians are far awake. There's no leader that will be on the ballot on 7th December 2024 that is better than John Dramani Mahama. You know it, I know it, they know it. The truth is this, that if we want a country that belongs to all of us, a country that doesn't belong to a select few, if we want a country that will prioritize the well-being of all and not a few, if we want a country that is focused on developing the future of its citizenry, the future leaders of our country, look at this government playing with the future of our kids. Education, what are they doing in the educational sector? It's deplorable. Look at infrastructure-wise, nothing. They've done nothing. I heard say, there was an accident involving the presidential convoy, and after the accident, we sympathize with, as Ghanaians, we sympathize with those who are injured and those who are. I learned one person even lost his life. Then the statement that came from the presidency was that all the others have been airlifted or they've been transferred to the University of Ghana Medical School for further treatment. I asked myself, I thought Eugene Ahin will send a letter and say that the people who were injured and those who are maimed have been sent to the National Cathedral for them to be treated. If you are able to send people to the University of Ghana Medical Hospital that was built by somebody you say is incompetent, but with you, President Anado, every opportunity he has found, or say, cathedral, we would build it. You should have sent those people who got injured in that accident, tragic accident, to the National Cathedral for treatment.
Talking about the National Cathedral, my main friend in Rome.
Yes.
Okay, so Emran was campaigning to be a man.
Yeah.
He said, say Ghana 42 million man, Yankopon Buano, and no be the What is wrong with that?
When you have a personal pledge with God, you go on that personal tangent to fulfill your promise to God. Not when Ghanaians and the economy is ailing and you want to use us to fulfill your personal pledge to God. Ghanaians didn't ask that we should build a national cathedral. It's the president who said, he has a personal pledge to God that he will build a cathedral. With all the monies that have been looted by his ministers left, right, center, they could have built a national cathedral in the name of the president. But not a country that cannot boast of each citizen having access to electricity. A country where students still sit on blocks in a classroom. A country that doesn't have drinking water for all its citizens, a country that still is suffering from something we call doomso, Then you say you are going to build a national criteria. That is being selfish. Leadership is not about being selfish. Leadership is about being proactive. Leadership is about aligning yourself to the difficulties and the situations of the day of your citizenry. Not Nanado Amambu. Nanado thinks, say, it is about him. Everything is about him, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now, governance is not like that. I don't know who taught him how to rule this way, but it is a dent on the image of the NPP as a whole. What I'm saying is, Ghanaians have seen the difference between a pragmatic leader and a lazy leader. Ghanaians have seen the difference between a leader who is a go-getter than a lazy leader who sits and believes it is birthright to be a leader or a president. That time is over. Ghanaians will go for somebody somebody who we can trust with our finances, somebody who will not create a family and friends government, somebody who will make all of us citizens become Ghanaians. Not by who you know or by who you are associated with, but Ghanaians by birth. And that is President John Dramani Mahama.
This one coming from Bramoro to His Excellency. He says, please ask H.E. Mr. Benjamin, why are Ghanaians in the diaspora are not allowed to vote? And should we expect Ghanaians in the diaspora to be allowed to vote should His Excellency John Dramani Mahama return into the Jubilee House? I don't know if you have answered to that.
Well, one thing is clear. We have an EC that, like Imani Ghana has said, wasted money on softwares that were already in place, on things that were not necessary to do because they had enough money or enough of those resources that were not obsolete at that time. But the EC didn't listen to anybody. They went ahead, spent over 2 million plus on whatever they wanted to do. We know there's ROPA. We know that the implementation of ROPA involves money. We know that the implementation of ROPA involves a lot of policy things that needs to be done. But we have an EC that is not ready for that. An EC that believes their only focus is on Ghanaians who are staying in Ghana. Look, Enra, I was watching an interesting video on News 24, and I saw South Africans in the diaspora voting. And I asked myself, when will it get to Ghana? But I can assure you, a President Mahama administration will do whatever is needed to ensure, the implementation of ROPA is done. And it is not just that the implementation of ROPA should be done. Implementation of ROPA should not be another avenue for a ruling government to still vote from the diaspora. We would ensure that the mechanisms are put in place because if they decide to implement ROPA now, we have to be more than extra vigilant because they would use that as an opportunity to do what they do best. So we don't want that. We want a ROPA with its backing legislative instrument that would ensure that elections are credible, free and fair, even in the diaspora where there are no police officers or other people to police the ballots, but we would know, per the laws, per the regulations that have been made, and per the legislation that follows it, nobody will misuse or misapply the ROPAL initiative.
Messages coming through. Okay, so this one is now, I think the NDC has a message. Gone are the days when the NDC had nothing substantial to tell Ghanaians. Way back, it was a Yezu Eyeza and Idebi Keke. When the NPP were telling us about free education and one district, one factory, now we get message. Keep it up.
Well, the NDC has always had messages, but you see, the truth of the matter is that at the point we were allowing ourselves to be wooed by the sloganeering. Into better one district, 1 million, one district, one factory, one child, one chocolate, one constituency, one laptop, one this, one that. And you see, we've come to realize as a people, it's not about the words, it's not about the promise, it's about you coming up with something cogent that will add values to the people that we rule. And I think the NDC has always done that. Our social intervention programs have always been to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. And I'm sure, it is not that now I can confidently say our message resonates with the people more because we know the difference.
Being so able to say, can we have policies whereby we can hold political parties responsible for not fulfilling promises they made to people convincing them to vote for them?
Well, I think that is where we have state institutions. When you tell the people what you are going to do for them and they vote for you, you are supposed to deliver. There should be trackers that will ensure, say, we deliver what we promise. Now, Media Maka say the NDC will not promise anything that is beyond its reach. That is why you are not hearing us say we'll give $1 million to a constituency. That is why you've not heard President Mahama jump to say even though this administration have failed with this Alawa thing, when I come, I would implement it again. He has said, let's go back to the student loan scheme. The other issue to do with the teacher licensure exams, he had said, I'll scrap it and make sure that we go back to the other policy. He had said, the normal timetable that we had for our secondary school students should go back to it. This is somebody who believes in a progressive free education. It should be progressive. One thing is clear, the NDC is not wooing voters with fake promises. We are telling them pragmatic things that we know, if we are not able to do it, the Ghanaian people will hold us accountable. That is what the president is focused on. And in doing those things, he's looking at developing the country. When you develop the country, when the country, you and I travel on the roads in South Africa, and I always say, if you have such road networks in Ghana, where you don't go to the shop always to change your shocks, you don't go to the shop always to say your tires are worn out because of the deplorable nature of the roads. It is you making the lives of your citizens better. So the president has said, he will do much in infrastructural development. He will make sure that there are things that will put monies in the pocket of our people. Currently, the dollar is almost 1 to 15. You don't run a country like this.
And more control.
That is failed leadership. That is what we call failed leadership. Some time back, Pastor Mensa Otabil said, to rescue this country, the CD will move to 1 to, it was 8 or 10.
Yeah.
Today it's at 15. And I'm asking myself, Nyansafuana Mensa Otabil was supporting that they should come. And today it's 1 to 15. Can he, as a man of God, look up to God, pray, and say God should listen to his prayers? These are some of the things that they have to be apologizing to Ghanaians for. These are some of the things that Bawumia should be able to organize a lecture about how to appreciate the city and tell us that, look, when I was a candidate, I thought things were easy, but now I've realized that things are not easy. That is leadership. But for him to jump and say that he can do whatever he wants to do because Ghanaians will not say much because Ghana for the say refi. But this time it's not going to be like that. We are going to ensure that in every aspect of governance that happens under President John Dramani Mahama, there's accountability, there's taking up of responsibility. If you have failed, you apologize to the people and tell them where you've gone wrong. Then collectively, we can build the country together. Not the ones we are seeing with Bawumia and his boss Nanado. No.
In the next 10 minutes, we should be saying goodbye to you. Did I say 10 minutes? Sorry, in the next 6 minutes, we should be saying goodbye to you. Our phone lines are activated. I'm saying you guys prefer sending messages more than calling in. That's also appreciated.
I said this at the Peace Summit recently and said, no politician is worth a drop of blood from any electorate. When we go to the polls, it's exchange of ideas and it's selection of who you want to lead a country at a particular time based on the person's promises, manifesto, and what you believe that at that time, it's good for the country. And so my message of peace has been one that says, once we go to the polls, let the elections be peaceful, credible, and violence-free. We all owe it to ourselves that we should not be violent during elections. We should not deprive people of voting to choose who they want to lead them, and we should not steal the mandate of the people. The NDC as a party, under the guided leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the party's chairman General Osiedu Nketia and the Secretary Fifi Kwete, have said they will protect every single ballot that is cast. They are not going to protect it with vigilantism. They are not going to protect it by being violent. They are protecting it by being true citizens, by ensuring that if I voted, my vote is counted. If I'm voted and I've voted for this particular candidate, the vote is given to this particular candidate. And I'm sure once that is done, the NEC is peaceful. We would accept the outcome of the elections. We would ensure that we work towards making Ghana free, fair, and better for everybody. And that starts with the ballot box. The ballot box will be protected. It will be policed. It will be the true reflection of the will of the people. Falling short of a margin of 1.2 million when it comes to the vote, we would defeat the MPP in a way that they would suffer to recover from. And if we come into government as an NDC party and we failed the people of Ghana, they will do the same thing to us and kick us out of administration. Ghanaians are discerning now. When we come to power and we want to maintain power, we need to deliver on the promises that we give to the people. We need to let the people hold us accountable to what we have said we can do. Not to just come and take them for a ride and think, say, after another 4 years, we'll come and tell them, like the Jagular vice president is doing, that vote for me because I was not a driver, I was a mate. We passed that stage.
His Excellency Benjamin Kofi Quashie, one Ndc-Sa Council of Elders, Chairman, one and yet in car, one year between for a whole hour, and not 1 year Ghasa. No meche, none this summer, it had talked in that vein. You know, Edinburgh, Ghasa radio. There was a great. Mama share on Facebook, so many messages now. Mama share on Facebook, that must say, the must see pray or say, so enlightened to listen to you. Very easy to understand. And then messages never need some messages never be okay, so enlightening to listen to you, very easy to understand your thoughts and explanation. Great job, more grace, AG. And this one says alhamdulillah, yeah, for people like you, Mr. Benjamin, side by side along Mr. John Dramani Mahama, and average Ghanaians have a brighter future. Kudos to you, Mr. Benjamin. Alan would guide Allah. I hope it's what you're trying to say. Allah will guide you with more wisdom, inshallah. And this one says, watching you and listening to you from our, I think I wanted to say honorable or venerable, okay, BKQ. Okay, yeah, better was CB Brain. As I'm ready, when you be doing credit, I was saying, hope say from time to time, and so, oh, Babes Ray, when you money the whole, in your moment, you naturally say, when you Ghasa, what can some, you are indeed a politician.
We're still learning. We are still learning. We are still learning. Yeah, we are learning. We are learning. You know, those days, UTA. Interviews granted by people like the late Honorable E.T. Mensah. Growing up, you could hear people like Harry Sawyer when they speak. And then you could hear somebody like President John Mahama when he was a communications minister, a deputy minister before a communications minister. And you could see that they articulate because they don't just come to events and just speak out of vacuum. They read, they research, and the NDC is so proud to currently also have people like Sami Jane Fee. You have people like Felix Quashie. You have people like Beatrice Annan, Malik Basintele, Eric J, Abbas Nuruddin. You know, people who sit and when they communicate, you understand. Say, so that is a different kind of the NDC that we are seeing now. That we don't only go to programs without preparing ourselves. We prepare ourselves to align ourselves to the needs of the people. And I think, say, as young people, we owe it to the next generation. Say, let's communicate in ways that brings exchange of ideas, not communicating with insults like we see from others. Let's debate issues. And we all know, say, the primary goal is to see Ghana develop. And I think, say, as communicators, we just have to align ourselves with that.
Okay.